Welcome back to another video on how to become a business consulting freelancer. Specifically, looking at the four module and how to conduct a proper research as a freelancer consultant. First, know how to conduct a research and gather quality data because data is something very powerful because it can help you to persuade, influence, inform, or reinforce your point of view, it can also be misleading. So identify, especially when you're conducting a research for a consulting project, the type of source where you can get the most and least valuable data. And the context here is data that is relevant to your consulting, uh, uh, to your consulting or in your research, right? So that's the important, and that is the measure of valuable here. Is how relevant is the data that you get in all of this? So how relevant is the source from the from all the data that you're getting? And uh, first identify is that the most valuable source, especially when you're conducting a research for a consulting project, is the company data, this first party data that is usually confidential and you have to sign an NDA agreement to that. So once you do that, you can now see and get as far back data as they have and use them to help you influence in your consultation and your suggestions. Yeah, you can use that for that, you know. So getting historical data as far back as they have, and then see what they have done in the past to help you influence your decision and recommendation. Then I look at the secondary data, which it comes from trust sources. They are not anonymous. They have a proven record of research report, peer review. You might or not pay for this type of source, and you want to take two set of note for the first party data and the second party data. And if you, for example, are not able to access the company's data, or there are few or inexistent secondary data, well, you look for this aggregate source. So the val these are the least valuable because most of the time you cannot determine the quality of the source, meaning is the who the author really is from. Yeah, who the author really is. But it's important to know they exist, okay? And then is when you now know how to conduct a research. So from a broad perspective, when you zoom out, you have this important to play devil advocate with yourself because things are not black and white. Uh, for that, okay. So things are not black and white. Yeah, because things are not black and white, and also you look at gathering relevant quality data. Yeah. So what brings you to the table? What brings you to the table, basically? But talking about the how to conduct the research is, well, first play devil advocate with yourself with your research because things are not black and white. gather as much relevant data as you can, keep track of every source you obtain, and take notes, and then check the quality of those sources. So, where the data come from, who the author really is. Look, for example, if you're looking at their website, find out something that you feel off, or something that you feel fishy from that. And perhaps under the sign, they have grammar errors. Uh, so knowing that, all right, how to conduct a research and gather quality data, I look at a case study of the marketing sites, especially from a Google AdSense guru, Paul Mendes from Zero to Mastering Structure. The point here is they outline is a couple guidelines, especially when you are conducting a research for a tourist website or a tourist company, right? So first is look at their website if they have. If they're not, doesn't matter. Understand what they offering, all the products and service, and then go into the specific. Look out for the categories and pricing, how much they charge, companies review, and understand what makes this company unique, because it will help you to influence your consulting suggestions. And then if you can access to the first party data, okay, the company data, to see what they have done in the past, how they have been performing, and this is something crucial, how they have been performing uh, mhm, mhm. Yeah, how they have been performing. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, because here right now I'm thinking is a lot of things at the same time, especially by talking perhaps to some consulting, to another consulting, all right, uh, for that specific skill set. Okay, so when they need that, yeah, specifically for that skill set. So when they need that, um, one of the issues that they will make. So the thing is, he will be the responsible for, or not responsible. If you get hired for someone else, right? Uh, if you don't have your own system, uh, they usually will break that up, and you don't want to do that. You want to keep this system flexible enough that can adapt to change, but allow others to understand how your system works. Okay, and yeah, pretty basically is this. And well, I combine is that this design system with something that I saw, for example, from Vox Atlas, explaining about the tech supply uh, change from the US and Europe, and how they shift is the exchange in design, manufacturing, and assembly, or the factories from China to now to another places, so, such as like South Korea or any country from this Southeast Asia. Yeah, so Southeast Asia. Okay, so Philippines, Laos, Thailand, uh, and how the United States has taken control over the computer supremacy by looking at their design. So keep their design safe. So the point here is that when you're creating a design, the key is the word create itself a lot, and that's exactly what you're doing here, especially with your lives. Like you are designing, you are the architect completely of your life. That's what happened. And since you're doing that, well, particularly here by looking at this guideline on this case study, will serve me like that as guidelines specifically. hmm Will serve me as guidelines completely. So that's the reason why I'm repeating this and understand why am I doing this, especially if I go to work for any company, not only for the case study, this tourist company, but for any company, right? So look up for their website, understand what they offer, all their products and service. If they don't have a website, it doesn't matter, but understand what they offer. Look at the products and service. They go into the specific about their pricing, categories, companies review, what makes this company unique, because this is what I'm gonna use in my consulting suggestions. And then I go to their first party data, if I can get access to that, to look at what they have done in the past, how they have been performance, and how can I provide my suggestions. Because once you conduct your research, combining is their data from their website, the brand, what they offer, how much they charge. Well, now you can move on to the secondary set of data or source, the competitor analysis. So this is where you're gonna look at who the other players in that industry are, to see what they're doing, how you can learn from them, and what you can learn from them, and take keywords from them. Because when you have these keywords, okay, in the case of tourists, it's like low prices or different products and services they offer, for example, your competition, right? You can use all of these keywords in a keyword planner or any tool that provide you to uh, do keyword research. Okay, it can be from Google or Key Tools, you name it. But to give you a clear idea of what's going on in that industry. But it's like that. To give you a clear idea of what's going on in that industry. That's the reason why you do this keyword research. Okay, based on the comparator analysis. So figuring out who the other players in that industry are, what they're doing, what you can learn from them, and well, take the keywords from them. So put do that a keyword research after that by using any of these keyword tools. You have to pay for that or not, depend, to get a clear idea of what's going on in that industry. And on top of that, then you're gonna make a more broader research about reading the news to get a broad sense of what's going on, not only in that industry but also in the world. So you know, or you can identify how can apply everything that I research to what is most likely to work today. Okay, and it's important to make that connection here. Okay, Why? Uh, because this will make you much more competitive, and pragmatical as well. So when it comes to things like this, right? If you look at data industry, okay. So when you look at that industry, hmm, so when you do this keyword research based on this competitor analysis, and this come from this secondary set of data to because my whole idea here is to form this relationship and to make it precise. Okay, so by looking at this keyword, so by making a keyword research based on the competitor analysis, which this come from this secondary set of data from these trust sources. The whole idea is to look at what or who the other players in that industry are in that area, to know what they're doing, see what you can learn from them, and take the keywords from that. So on this keyword planner, to give you a clear, more to give you a more clear idea of what's going on in that industry. Then on top of that, you do a research, you do a more broader research by looking at the news to know that, yeah, to know how to, yeah, to know how you can apply what you have researched to what is most likely to work today. And that including is look at the industry regulations, how they adapt into that, and where this industry is going. And this is crucial, okay? This to me is something crucial, that you pick that particular niche and you stick to that niche. You know, you pick that particular niche and you stick to that niche. And if you need to down the road expand your servers, you might do that. But right now, that's what I'm gonna do here. So this set of guidelines uh, helped me, okay, when I research, for example, the view ecosystem, okay, when I research the view ecosystem and the web app, all right, and just only uh, those two tools, all right, only in that particular image, view for building user interface and Nox is for building modern web applications, okay. So that's the niche here. You might also include this micro frontend, okay, which allows you to, for example, this micro frontend, the micro frontend, which allows you to hire other developers, and this is when it comes to scalability, right? This is this is when scalability comes because you can now hire other developers, reuse their skill set, okay, reuse their skill set and scale your business. This might be one way to do this, you know? Because, for example, let's say you focus in that particular niche, in Vue and Nuxt. But of course, you don't want to dedicate time to learn React or Angular. But you can hire other developers that are specialized or that are specialists in that area. So what you can do is by using the micro front end, alright, you can is uh, take a collaborative environment and much more control of the entire development. So, mm, mhm. So doing this research of micro frontend, okay, micro frontend. There are a lot of websites trying to do that. It's an architectural style where independent deliverable front-end applications are composed into a greater whole. This is something that ThoughtWorks teach Radar since late 2016 and has moved steadily to accept to trial to, and finally to adopt in 2019. We build out an example application using React. We're confident this style will grow in popularity as large organizations try to decompose UI development across multiple teams. As decompose UI development across multiple teams. So they adopt that in May 2020 from Martin Fowler. And of course, cross-platform communication. Mm, the front end. Yeah, but this is the theory, it's like, okay, okay. This is from the theory, right? Mm-hmm. And this is something important here. The microfrontend using Webpack Model Federation. First, you explore how we can mm, there might be something useful here to look. There's a microfrontend pure storage. A basic overview of microfrontend and microfrontend framework guide. Technical integration. Microfrontend architecture principles.
Jack Harrington is an
Nice
excellent teacher,
explanation.
and he's about to teach you how to develop web apps with micro front ends.
I'm Jack Harrington. We're going to application, and this one's going to go on 3001 because you can't have it on the same port. Again,
Of course, but with React. hmm Of course, but with React. Whoop. Okay. Hmm. Again, the core thing here is to build something. But using this Webpack Model Federation. Basic microfrontend. Runtime integration. Development started with framework. Perhaps the explaining is the core of all of this stuff. When I look at the micro front end, GitHub, there's several. One app by American Express. By American Express. Mm, in Cancun. Mm, in Cancun. Mm, mm. Cancun. Yes, because this is too new, man. Yeah, this is too new, and it's important to find the sweet spot, is the balance here. You know? It's important to find a balance here. So, might not be with micro frontend, okay? Because this is too new to this, okay? It's definitely too new to this. What we can do is just doing this with that, right? Building a POC e-commerce with Nox and Vue and headless CMS, strapping, the recorded process. Okay, that might be more plausible. Yeah, this might look much more plausible. So I not going to rely on the micro frontend solution right now because this is very brand new, and I'm not going to use. I'm not going to be a pioneer in that field. I really like the idea, okay, but the industry, well, top tech company perhaps they're using that, but the vast majority of the industry is still on that, still figuring out that. So, okay, 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 move on. So move on. And now what I would like to do here is POC e-commerce with Nox and Vue with
Engaging
Nox
presentation looks like, how there are a lot of good images and icons, the text is big and easy to read, and you'll
Nox,
understand that people's
Vue,
attention
and
spans are pretty short, so you need to keep them engaged, and you can see that they even utilize different pipes.
Okay, so now I'm looking here at how to create an effective, appealing consumer report. Again, if you remember, uh, what are the things? If you remember, what are the tasks that a consultant does is conduct the research, then analyze the data, and present the result. Right. So here I'm looking at how to create effective and appealing consumer reports. How to create effective and appealing consumer reports. Okay, the art of the presentation.
Planning on how you're going to visualize your findings into a visually appealing consulting report. Now, this is a report that you are going to present live to the client, and it's really going to help them visually understand everything that you're talking about, because people oftentimes are visual learners. They process things better, not only just on a call when they hear it, but when you've put things into a report. And it also goes above and beyond, especially when you don't kill them with a death by PowerPoint and just have a bunch of words on the screen, but you're performing visually engaging presentations, and that is going to help you stand out and earn repeat business. The first step is to analyze your research and your notes. Now, you need to analyze your research and your notes because reporting is very powerful when it is done the right way. Now, if you do a visually appealing consulting report, now this to the next lesson. Now that you have the research stage done of the project, you've done your first party data, your second party data, and possibly gathered your third party data, now it's time to start planning on how you're going to visualize your findings into a visually appealing consulting report.
Exactly.
Welcome to the next lesson. Now that you have the research stage done of the project, you've done
Mm-hmm. So now that you have the research done,
your first party data, your second party data,
done on first your first party, on your first, second, and third party data.
and possibly gathered your third-party data. Now it's time to start planning on
You possibly with third-party data. Now it is time, well, to know how to present that.
how you're going to visualize your findings
Well, how are you gonna visualize? Now it's time to how to visualize your findings.
into a visually appealing
How to visualize your findings into a visually engaging, engaging.
consulting report. Now, and possibly gathered your third-party data. Now it's time to start planning on how you're going to visualize your findings into a visually appealing
Into a visually appealing
consulting report. Now,
visually appealing consulting report.
this is a report that you are going to present live to the client, and it's really going to help them
Exactly. So this is a report that you are going to present. This is a report you're going to present on live.
visualize your findings into a visually appealing consulting report. Now, this is a report that you are going to present live to the client,
This is a report you are going to present live with a client. On live with a client.
and it's really going to help them visually understand everything that you're
And is it will visually
appealing consulting report. Now, this is a report that you are going to present live to the client, and it's really going to help them visually understand everything.
it will really and it will really make really visually understand your
That you're talking about, because
understand what you are talking about.
people oftentimes are visual learners. They process things better, not only just on a
And this is a fun fact. So people are visually more.
and it's really going to help them visually understand everything that you're talking about, because people oftentimes are visual learners.
Because people oftentimes are visual learners.
They process things better, not only just on a
They process things better.
call, when it's going to help them visually understand everything that you're talking about, because people oftentimes are visual learners. They process things better, not only just on a call when they hear it, but when you put in things into a report. And it also goes above and beyond, especially when you don't kill them with a death by PowerPoint and just have a bunch of words on the screen, but you're performing visually engaging presentations, and that is going to help you stand out and earn
Exactly. So, and that is where allow you to stand up from the competition.
repeat business. The first step is to just have a bunch of words on the screen, but you're performing visually engaging presentations, and that is going to help you stand out and earn repeat business. The PowerPoint and just have a bunch of words on the screen, but you're performing visually engaging presentations, and that is going to help you stand out and earn repeat business. The first step is to
in your business.
Analyze your research and your notes. Now, you need to analyze your research and your notes because reporting is very powerful when it is done the right way. Now, if you just do a simple report and you don't make sure that you put a lot of time into it, the client is really going to understand that very quickly. And it really, even if you did the research fully and you have good suggestions, if your report is just too simple and it doesn't go into what it needs to, you may turn the client away and they may not want to work with you further because they don't think you put enough time into the presentation. So it's very important to use data points to draw conclusions and make multiple recommendations as a consultant to solve the problem that they need solved. So you should precisely know how you're going to use the data that you've gathered before you create your report. Taking this bird's eye view is going to help you visualize the beginning, the middle, and the end of your report and your presentation. What you want to do is put the most valuable data first. Longer reports are fine as long as all of the data that is the most valuable is included in the beginning, because you don't want the client to start to forget about what the most important thing was. That's why you need to open with it. Don't just end with it real quick. You need to make sure you put the most impactful data first so your audience can make sure that they understand what the report is really revolving around. Nobody wants to sit through an entire presentation just to get to the final page, which actually has all of the good stuff on it. You need to lay the groundwork first, present the most valuable data, and then expand on that with visual reports and different aesthetics. Another thing you can do is create templates of consulting reports when needed. So I myself have a few consulting clients that I've been working with for multiple years. And what I've been able to do is create consulting reports that I run for them either weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. And what I do there is I still gather all of the data, but now I have a template that I use all the time. So it helps me save time because for that specific client, I know where the data has to go. After that, always remember that you want to visualize data into easy to read graphs and charts. Now here's an interesting fact. Did you know that humans process visual data 60,000 times faster than written data? So illustrated data such as graphs and charts, they're also more believable and they're easier to understand. And this is from a study by Cornell University. So when possible, always include visual data in your consulting reports, because not only does it help your report really just pack a greater punch, it also helps trim down the time and the effort needed to digest your data. So by doing this, you don't have to answer as many questions after the fact if you had a confusing report. So if you make it digestible and you put all of your data into graphs and charts, it makes you that much better as a consultant. Data visualization also helps you make informed decisions and helps the clients understand how you got to those informed decisions. So data visualization, it just refers to showcasing data, numbers, and statistics through images and charts. And when you display data in a visually appealing way, it's more easy to point out those meaningful patterns, and that otherwise wouldn't be possible if you just wrote the numbers down and wrote the sentences down. It's all about, as a consultant, making sure that the client understands how you came to your conclusion, and that's going to help them be a believer and actually put your suggestions into practice. So with data visualization, you can share what you've discovered and you can showcase the research you've done in a visually appealing and effective way. This is really going to show that you go above and beyond as a consultant, and you're not just an average consultant that does the minimum just to get by. Now let's get into some of the different types of charts and graphs that you can include in your consulting reports. The first is bar graphs. These are very versatile, and they're used to show change over time, compare different categories, or compare parts of a whole. Next are pie charts. Pie charts are best used for making parts a whole.
Okay. So that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye-bye.